All right, now joining us for analysis on the President's address is political analyst Lukhona Mnguni. Good afternoon, Lukhona. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Quite a lot to discuss pertaining the President's address, but let's start with just your reaction firstly to the decision to place Minister Mnguni on special leave and establish that Judicial Commission of Inquiry.
Well, good afternoon to you, Mfundo, and your viewers. The immediate response really that I had last night was to say that it appears to me that there's something constitutionally amiss with the decision of the president, particularly because I don't think we have good clarity in terms of what it means to take leave of absence in the context of the, people like ministers who are, of course, political appointees. We know that at times president would have punished Stella Ndabeni as minister then during COVID by docking her salary because of breaching certain, COVID-19 lockdown rules. But what is curious in this point is that the president then ventures outside of cabinet to appoint an acting minister in Prof. Feroz Kachalia. Mm-hmm. Now, Prof. Feroz Kachalia cannot act as a cabinet member when he's not a member of cabinet. So he has to be sworn in at some point as a minister, which would then mean that Minister Mnguni is effectively removed as minister from police, because if there was to be an acting minister, they ought to have come from the existing members of cabinet, or it would mean that you have got two ministers in the same position.
All right.
Now,
so
I've asked for some guidance.
Just for clarity there, essentially that means you hold the view similar to that of the economic freedom fighters, because they've questioned the constitutionality of just that decision, because ordinarily we understood it that a minister would act in the place of another minister, not even a deputy minister. That's why there was always an argument by some that what exactly is the role of a deputy minister if they cannot stand in for the minister. So in this instance, you're saying even though the Constitution allows for the president to appoint two individuals outside of cabinet, in this instance, though, it would need to be an individual who already is a minister if they're going to act on behalf of Minister Mnguni, who would be now taking leave of absence.
Well, Mfundo, I made the point well before the EFF, and really is to say the president can appoint two individuals who are not members of parliament into cabinet as ministers. Likewise, he can appoint two deputy ministers who are not members of parliament. That's the maximum that is available to him. And he cites this point in the Constitution. But it does not permit him to appoint an acting minister unless he is simply saying, in an interim capacity, I'm bringing in another minister. The other point I made last night was to say, why is the president finding it very difficult to, remove Senzo Mnguni as a minister? Let him go back to parliament as an ordinary member of parliament. He will still be earning some salary there. He'll be out of the title of minister. He'll be out of the office of minister, and allow Professor Feroz Kachalia to do his work as Minister of Police. And then if in some point in time the president feels that Mr. Mnguni has been exonerated, he can reappoint him as Minister of Police. But here, I think we are faced again with another action by the president, which is trying to navigate the political space he finds himself in with one of his key political allies, but at the same time probably creating a solution that has no constitutional grounds in my view. Mm-hmm. And I've gone back to the Constitution to look at it quite carefully. And Mr. Prof. Feroz Kachalia can only execute his tasks if he is sworn in as a full member of cabinet and therefore as a full Minister of Police.
Mm-hmm. Now, on the part of just the Judicial Commission of Inquiry itself, there's a view in certain quarters that citizens are tired of costly commissions that are long drawn out and lead to no accountability, because the reality is there are no criminal proceedings per se. Are those who hold this view justified, or it was the safest route for the president to take here? Because you cannot quickly condemn an individual. There must be some sort of a thorough investigation.
Well, Mfundo, to be quite frank, I understand people's tiredness with commissions of inquiry, but the truth is that there's only so much that is legally available to the president for him to get to the bottom of these issues and satisfy himself that, a fair, just, and due process has been followed. It's similar to people, Mfundo, who no longer have confidence to go and open cases at police stations because they feel that cases are foiled, dockets go missing, investigating officers don't do thorough work, and so on. But trust me, whenever something happens to a person and they know that they ought to open a police case, they go to the nearest police station and they open a case, irrespective of their views on the viability of the system. And once more, this is the only available avenue to the president, to be quite frank, to try and get a process that would gather the evidence, process the evidence, verify the evidence, weigh the evidence, and then come to some form of conclusions, which would then inform the interim reports that he has asked for to happen at month 3 and month 6. Of course, what is the difficulty here is that we are not too sure when is day 1 of the commission, so that we can be able to determine the issues of month 3 and month 6, because as you know, the two people who are at the center of this, Justice Madlanga, who is going to retirement end of July, he'll need to be given space to assemble a team of evidence leaders along with the other advocates. He has been appointed with a team of experts in policing who can handle and help them understand the institution better and the processes and the hierarchy of the chain of command, and a variety of other personnel who may be able to verify, from an IT point of view, messages and, screening and downloading and all of those things. So, Mfundo, it's going to be interesting to understand when is day 1 of the commission, so that we can be able to get to a point of getting proper timelines. It would be amiss to say simply because in August, Justice Madlanga available, day 1 is August, and therefore after 3 months we expect a report. It may well be that the first month or 2 will be about setting up the commission itself.
Fair enough. Now, on that score of timelines, the inquiry will have far broader terms of reference, at least from what we heard from the president. It won't be confined to just the allegations around the minister. There'll now be a look at broader infiltration of law enforcement and intelligence, and adequacy of just the current legislation to prevent infiltration. Is this the best decision in your view, given the truncated timelines? Broader scope, shorter period to report back. Is it okay?
Well, I mean, it's ambitious on the part of the president, and probably to send a promise to South Africans that he is trying to get things resolved as speedily as possible. But I think, Mfundo, we are going to find ourselves exactly where Justice Zondo was with the State Capture Commission, with the numerous applications to the president for amendments to the terms of reference of the commission, particularly on the timeline, extensions, and so forth. It may well be that when Justice Madlanga himself peruses the official terms of reference, that will be drafted by the president, he might want to certainly amend other parts. What is quite clear is that the Mkhwanazi bombshell and allegations was far-reaching on the entire criminal justice system, and not just the police or the minister himself. The other question, Mfundo, that must then be asked is, if the president is acting on the person he has authority over, which is the minister, and is putting him on leave of absence, what does General Masemula do with some of those who report to him, who would have been implicated by Mkhwanazi? Does he fold his arms, allow them to carry on with work, or may he take a decision as well and view them as potentially, if they remain in office, they could be obstructive to the inquiry, and they could do cover-ups, lead to missing information and all that kind of tampering that people tend to be removed from office when there is a serious investigation for. And I think these are the serious questions that then must be posed to General Masemula in terms of what he's going to do. It cannot be that it's only, Senzo Mnguni, who has been who's institutionalized in the state and has been implicated, who must be given leave of absence.
No, it is an interesting take that here. If the president has acted, what becomes the commissioner's move? Lukhona, thank you very much for your insights this afternoon. That's political analyst Lukhona Mnguni there, just sharing his analysis following the address by President Cyril Ramaphosa last night.